Welcome back to another episode of NBA Weekly. I am your host, Pee Wee the Plug, 1/4 through the wire, number one Knicks fan in the world, aka Mr. Know-It-All. First and foremost, before we even get to NBA Weekly, welcome to all of the new subscribers that I have. Shout out to Kenny for the shout out that he gave me in yesterday's video. For those of you that don't know, that may haven't seen it, go check out Kenny's video from yesterday where he's doing the King of the Fourth Quarter career sim, or trying to win a championship with him. He used my draft class that I'll be using in a future series that I've been working on the side, that has all of the Through the Wire members created into a draft class that you may even seen if you follow me on Twitter. Something I was posting on Twitter along the process of me creating us. Very detailed. I will say I did a very good job, as accurate as it can be, but it was real dope. So shout out to Kenny for that, and we'll be seeing my series in the near future involving Through the Wire as 2K players. Also, an update on the Detroit Pistons rebuild series. A lot of y'all are into that and are waiting for episode 4. That was supposed to drop today. I just was trying to edit it, but if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I ran into a situation where during the editing process, some type of way the file was not even fully corrupted. But if you follow me on Twitter, go watch the video of me explaining what happened. I recorded my gameplay on the Xbox, and then when I took the gameplay, put it on a laptop to edit it like I normally do, a big piece of the video, of the middle of the video, is gone. It doesn't exist, and it, for some reason, just fast forwards to a whole different part, and it screws up the sync of the video. So on the camera, I'm talking about one thing, but behind me, the gameplay is doing another thing. So I scrapped it. Sorry, y'all have to wait an extra day. You'll get it tomorrow on Tuesday. I promise you that. But NBA Weekly update. The season is back. I can't even say finally because we haven't waited that long. So with the season being back, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to y'all and reach out to y'all about NBA Weekly now that the season is back. What are some topics or what are some things that y'all think we can do weekly to discuss the climate of the NBA as each week passes? I want y'all to let me know in the comments different things, different suggestions, different segments, as you would call them, from the podcast. Like, for example, would it be corny or would it be lame if we did like a player of the week, a team of the week? It doesn't even have to be the traditional topics like that. Let's dig deep. Let's get interesting. Let's come up with our own things. It doesn't have to be the standard things that people always do, or whatever. If y'all have some fire ideas, you don't even have to have it right now. You can come back to this video 2 days later if something hits you, or you come up with something. But let's find some things that we can do on NBA Weekly to discuss the past week of the NBA. There's always going to be topics and things that I'm going to talk about throughout the week. Headlines and different things will create themselves, obviously. But I also would like to have something that we always do as our tradition. So even when we get in those parts of the season where there's not really much news or there's nothing that's really too crazy that's happening, we can still be like, oh, well, even though in this dry week, we still have our blah, blah, blah that we do. And that can always fill a void for when times get a little stagnant or slow, as it always happens during the during the NBA season. Sometimes it's the middle after the trade deadline. There's not really much to talk about because all the trades happen. We're past All-Star weekend. For a couple days, you have the buyout market. But then, once you're past the buyout market, it kind of slows down as far as news and player movement. And depending on how the seeding is, it's not far-fetched to say sometimes the top 2 seeds are kind of far away from the rest of the pack. And then the most interesting thing is maybe who can snag or sneak up to take the 8th seed. Very rarely do we have interesting close award races. For the most part, sometimes the Rookie of the Year can be interesting, but I feel like last year we kind of knew it was Ja. Even though Zion came back and did his thing, it was only for a limited amount of time, so it was hard to kind of put him in the mix. There was some MVP conversations and whatnot, but I feel like that always leaned towards Giannis for MVP, back-to-back campaign. This year, MVP will be a lot more open, I think. It should be. There's some guys that can be in a conversation as first-time winners. I definitely feel strong about having a first-time winner. When you think of names like Damian Lillard, Nikola Jokic, Luka now has to be in the conversation. And I even want some of those young guys. I know Luka is young. He would classify as a young guy. But some more of the young guys to try to take that leap and take that step. Like Trae Young, even with that team out east. Maybe even Ja Morant. I know Ja Morant is probably the most far-fetched name, but hell, y'all, if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen that I've been trying to show the parallels and the similarities between Ja and Derrick Rose early on in their careers. And I just think that Ja Morant should come into this season with the mentality that Derrick Rose had. Like, why can't I be one of the top point guards? Why can't I be MVP? Even though it is far-fetched, just come in with the mentality, and you never know what can happen. Anything is possible. So, yeah. And speaking of Derrick Rose, I actually been reading his book. I'll show you. It's been a very, very good read. And a lot of you guys, few of you guys have read it or is interested in reading it and want to check it out. I'll definitely, if you value my opinion, I would definitely suggest that you do read it. It's been fun. I've read about 100 and something pages in like 2 days because it's that interesting, especially for me being a Chicago kid. I connect with it probably a little different than most others. But it's a really good book in general. It just shows you different outlooks of Derrick Rose and maybe different things that you really didn't know about him. And if you did know those things about him, it's a little bit more in depth. And I always love to hear those stories about some of the greatest people to play a sport or to just be one of the greatest to do something that you do. And at one point, Derrick Rose was that. But yeah, as far as NBA Weekly, I'm just here to give y'all an update. I'm super excited that the season is back. I got my fantasy team. I'm not the fantasy guy, so I know a lot of y'all probably would suggest something fantasy related. I don't think I'm the guy to be talking about fantasy basketball too much. That's why a lot of guys reach out to me with their teams and they ask me what do I think. And I tell them like, hey, I'm not the fantasy judge or fantasy guru, so don't take my word for it. I just join leagues because my friends ask me to. And every year it's the same for me where when I first start, I'm super confident in my team. I love my team. I feel like this is my year. We gonna do this and do that. And then like weeks into the season, I kind of don't even pay attention to it no more. And I just kind of let it go. And I'm not even changing my lineup. And it just fades out of my mind. And I end up not caring less than a month in. Hopefully this year is different. I'm always intrigued and willing to try it again for the following years because my friends, all we want to do is have bragging rights and talk shit to each other in any way that we can, whether it's a 2K game, a card game, fantasy basketball, actual in real life basketball, a fucking foot speed race, anything that we can do to compete against each other is always something that's going to bring us in or get our attention to make it fun. So that's why I joined. I know a lot of y'all take that shit very serious with wages and paying tournaments and all that type of thing. It's not my thing. Fantasy has never been my thing. It's just cool to go against my friends to have some shit to say. But yes, the most important thing I wanted to get out in this video is please, please, please think of NBA Weekly topics that y'all would want me to talk about. As of now, right now, I got some players and some teams that I want to talk about that could possibly be a surprise or just guys that I'm watching. First and foremost, Darius Bazley. Darius Bazley is a guy that I'm going to be watching like crazy this season just because I expect him to have some type of jump. This may not be Darius Bazley's year to take that big jump, but I definitely want to see him take a jump from his rookie year. I feel like it's going to be a lot more opportunity and a lot more minutes for him compared to last year when he was playing behind Gallinari and whatnot on a playoff team. Now that team is scrapped down and there's not a lot of pieces there, I think a lot of minutes can go to him, Shea, Dort. Horford obviously is going to get minutes. I think Poku can get some minutes. Hami should be able to get some minutes out there. And then there's some other guys that can compete and steal for some minutes. But I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for guys like Darius Bazley on this Thunder team. And I think he's one of the most talented young players that we have in the league. I think he has star to superstar potential. That's just me. I know a lot of other people might not see it or might not even know what I'm talking about, but if you watch Darius Bazley and you watch him closely, you will see it too. I know a lot of people ain't breaking their necks to watch Thunder games, but boy, I'm watching Darius Bazley and I see it. He reminds me so much of Lamar Odom. Y'all know how much I love Lamar Odom, one of my favorite players of all time. Just that long 6'9" body, the ability to be able to handle it, guard multiple positions, he can shoot the three, can handle the ball enough to get to the rim from the 3-point line or the perimeter. Can pick and pop, can pick and roll. He's a vertical lob threat. He can block some shots. I think the dude has the full package, and he's only 19 or 20. So he has a bright future ahead of him. I'm going to be looking at his teammate Shea too. I think Shea is going to take a step. Interested in that. Obviously, I'm going to be looking at Michael Porter Jr. from the Nuggets. Hopefully his role is bigger and he takes that step, because I know the entire world is waiting on that step for Michael Porter Jr. because we can all basically see it. Another guy that may not be the big name that's going to just be out there for you to grab or just be looking at, Cam Reddish. I'm watching Cam Reddish. I feel like Cam Reddish is one of the better wings on that Hawks team as far as potential. It's not a lot of guys in his age range or in that second year that I'm taking over Cam Reddish as far as the wing position goes. So I'm definitely interested in him. I feel like he could be a Paul George 2.0 in some way. So I hope he can find his way to get some minutes. It's one of the things I criticized the Hawks about this offseason. They did have a great offseason. They did do a good job of going out and getting a lot of talent. But with them getting that amount of talent, you have to sacrifice some of the developmental opportunities that, Cam Reddish, Kevin Huerter would have had. I feel like DeAndre Hunter is going to get his minutes. John Collins and Gallinari are going to get their minutes. Kongwu and Capella are going to get their minutes, especially when Kongwu is back healthy and entering the rotation. He's a center. He has to get his minutes. So now that kind of makes Cam Reddish maybe fall out of the rotation some. You look at the point guard position. You have Trey, Rondo, and Chris Dunn shooting guard. You have Bogdanovic, and then you all have Herter and Reddish. Somebody's going to be out of the loop is what I'm saying. I've never seen a successful 11 to 12-man rotation in NBA. And when you look at their starting five, it's Trey, Bogdanovic, Hunter, Collins, Capella. Then off the bench, you're going to have Gallinari. Kongwu is going to get minutes at the center. Rondo is going to be the backup point guard. And then you have to have Cam, Herter, and Dunn figure it out for themselves in some way, shape, or form. So definitely going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Other guys that I'm watching, like I said, just random guys. Naz Reid from the Minnesota Timberwolves. I like his game. I like what he was able to do with his opportunity last year at the end of the season when Cat went down. So I'm going to be watching Naz Reid. Definitely been watching him since he was at LSU, a unique center. The center position is getting unique the more and more we grow. I think the more we continue to grow the game, the more big men get intrigued with wanting to do things that guards do, which has always been a thing. It's always been a thing. Big men have always wanted to do what guards do, but now they're allowed to. Back in the day, it was no hanging around a perimeter, dribbling a ball. No, get in the post, do your post moves and all of that. But now, the more the game has grown, we've allowed centers to have that responsibility of playmaking, shooting threes, handling the ball, being able to push a fast break. And then that opens up the gates for guys like Naz Reid, Nikola Jokic, and many more. We're just getting started. We're going to see more and more as we go. Out in Detroit, I'm looking at Svi Mykhailiuk. I want to see him be one of the better shooters in the league. I think he can shoot the ball with the best of them. He really has some good range. And hopefully Detroit allows him to shoot the ball that they did in the preseason. He started for them in the preseason, and he pretty much had the green light. Let it fly, let it ride. I think he could be one of those top 3-point shooters in the league. He should be a guy that's in the 3-point contest the next few years in the league that we see him, because he can really shoot it with the best of them. He just needs to take advantage of his opportunities and have that ultimate green light, because every great shooter has the ultimate green light. Whenever you feel like you can shoot it, shoot it. Just let it fly. There's no consequence. They should do what Miami did to Duncan Robinson. We're going to take you out for not shooting. You never have to worry about being taken out for shooting, but we're going to do the opposite and take you out if you're not shooting the basketball. So, Svi, I think, is one of those guys, has good NBA size, always could be able to shoot the ball since he was at Kansas. And I think playing with Killian Hayes, Blake Griffin, guys like that, they should be able to collapse defenses and find him on the wing and the perimeter, and he should just be able to knock them down I want to see Markelle Fultz out in Orlando take a step. I feel like Markelle has potential. I think Markelle, people forget how good of a basketball player Markelle Fultz was before the whole shoulder situation and scenario. So I'm looking forward to his game. I think he can have an all-around game at the point guard position. Early on in the preseason, him and Cole Anthony were doing a good job as a little 1-2 point punch at the point guard position. I think Markelle Fultz can definitely be a 14 to 15 point scorer, 5 to 6 assists, 4 to 5 rebounds, without a doubt. I think he can be that type of player and that type of point guard on a game by game basis. 6'5", strong, more confident shooting the ball now. The hitch is kind of leaving. The jump shot is a little bit more fluent. So I'm definitely eager to see him. Markelle Fultz, before the whole shoulder scenario in Philadelphia, just coming out of Washington, he was an electrifying guard. He was the real deal. He had an ultimate game, and I think a lot of people don't know that. And a lot of people just automatically think of bust or something like that when they think of Markelle, and I just think that's unfair. That whole shoulder situation is so weird, unique. We still don't really know what happened or the full details, anything like that. And then it kind of made him forget how to shoot. It was just a very, very strange situation. And I think a lot of people don't know how good Markelle was or forgot. So every time you hear that name, you just think of that situation in that moment with Philadelphia and him shooting threes or shooting a shot and the entire stadium going crazy. Just very weird and strange. But he definitely has game. And over the past few seasons, I feel like he's kind of got over that situation and kind of past that to just focus on his game. And he's definitely took some steps in the right direction. But I feel like this year is a full year with the Magic. He should be the full-time starting point guard. And he should take advantage. No more DJ Augustine there, anything to take away minutes. And that team is still good on paper to me to compete for some type of playoff spot out east. One of my last guys that I'm going to be watching, hopefully if he gets the minutes, another one of those situations where he's going to have to compete for minutes and hope that he can find his way in the rotation. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker for the New Orleans Pelicans, a guy that always puts on a show in preseason because he always gets the opportunity in preseason, but a guy that I think has a lot of upside and a lot of potential. Again, like the Hawks and Cam Reddish, Nickeil Alexander with the Pelicans, it's crowded over there in the positions where he could play. When you think about Bledsoe, Lonzo, Kira Lewis that they just drafted, the point guard position is kind of locked up. Then you think about the shooting guard position with J.J. Redick. They're actually probably going to play Lonzo at shooting guard, for being honest, because Bledsoe is probably going to start. So actually, we can put the depth chart as Lonzo as a shooting guard, but then it's also Josh Hart and J.J. Redick, small forward. Brandon Ingram, he's an all-star. He's an automatic 37 to 38 minutes at that position. And then you have Zion at the 4. Not that Nickeil would even play the 4. And then Steven Adams. And I think I feel like I'm forgetting somebody or forgetting some few people on that wing or guard position that is probably also still taking minutes for Nickeil Alexander as well. But he's a guy, like I said, when it comes down to preseason and just getting opportunity, he takes advantage. When he was able to get opportunity at the bubble, when they kind of were fading out and losing their opportunity to make the playoffs, and he got his minutes, he killed. Last preseason as a rookie, he killed. This preseason, again, he's looking good. So I just hope he can find a way to fight for some minutes. But yeah, as Lonzo, Bledsoe, Redick, Kira Lewis, Lonzo, I mean, it's just great. Did I count Lonzo twice? Let me see. Eric Bledsoe, Lonzo, J.J. Redick, Kira Lewis, Josh Hart, and then so it's crowded. It's crowded for sure, but hopefully he can be able to get some minutes. League pass teams that I'm looking forward to watching. The Charlotte Hornets, definitely excited to be watching LaMelo. It's funny to see LaMelo hooping and playing in the NBA now and actually doing good things. You know what I mean? He's doing things that we're all happy to see him doing. Like he's exciting. He's what everybody kind of thought he was going to be. Obviously, we got to see the full games, the real games, to see how that jump shot looks over an 82-course season or 72. But all of the talk about LaMelo not having it or he's going to be a bust, he's not going to be good. That shit is kind of piping down very quick, and it was a a conversation for years on how good LaMelo was going to be, and to see him kind of shut that up in like a few preseason games has been very, very intriguing. Another league pass team for me personally is probably going to end up being the Kings if they can stay healthy. I think De'Aaron Fox is exciting. I'm interested to see Marvin Bagley because I really haven't seen him too much of him. And I think that team can be really good if they're getting up and down. Buddy Hield is an outstanding shooter on a wing. Tyrese Halliburton is another exciting young player that they have over there. So I feel like if they can stay healthy, get up and down, and play at a really good speed and a really good tempo with De'Aaron Fox like being the guy in charge over there, pushing that ball, I feel like they can be very, very exciting. Will they win a lot of games? Probably not. But if they're getting up and down with Marvin Bagley being their 5, like I said, De'Aaron Fox leading the charge, and then on the wings you got Halliburton and Buddy Hield spotting up the shoot. I think that team could be very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. And like I said, they probably won't win a lot of games. I wouldn't expect them to win a lot of games, but just as far as excitement on League Pass, they're definitely a team that I'll be tuning into late at night because they're going to be playing against West Coast teams and things like that. I'll definitely be tuned into them. You know, a team that, now that I'm thinking about it, a team that usually is like a League Pass team for me is like the Pelicans. I'm a like watch them for intriguing reasons, not because of them being exciting like they was last year, which they still have potential to do for sure. But the whole Steven Adams thing really kind of was a curveball for me. It felt like they were throwing me a curveball because I wasn't expecting that at all. I just didn't see the fit. But hey, he said, to get out of Zion way is nothing. Just move. As far as spacing, he's just gonna move out of Zion's way. But then last but not least, the Grizzlies and the Suns. The Suns are going to be a lead pass team. Seeing Chris Paul and Devin Booker in that backcourt. Definitely want to see DeAndre Ayton take a big step and leap in his game with having a point guard like Chris Paul calling the shots for him. That pick and roll should be real, real good. And then the surrounding pieces that they're putting around all three of those guys with Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Javon Carter. I think that team is nice. Dario Saric, I like him as well. So there'll be a team as well. And then the Memphis Grizzlies, especially when Jaren Jackson gets back from his injury. Ja Morant, I think, is primetime TV, must-see TV. Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson. Y'all know my boy Slow-Mo. And then last but not least, Brandon Clark. Brandon Clark is a guy that I still can't believe that teams let the Grizzlies get along with Ja Morant. And then they drafted Desmond Bane this year. Valanciunas sometimes looks like an all-star center. So it's a lot of exciting teams. Those are just the ones that I'm going to be watching because they ain't the most typical. We're all going to be trying to watch the Nuggets. We're all going to be trying to watch the top-tier teams or whatnot. But those are a few players I'm going to be watching. A few league pass teams that I'll be watching. And just a quick update overall in general for NBA Weekly. So don't forget to leave a comment and let me know some of the ideas y'all have or different things y'all want to hear me talk about. Because I see y'all like those videos, like the last one I did about Anthony Davis being a big or not. Y'all are intrigued with those videos, and I like doing them too. But I just want to know what y'all want to hear me talk about. We don't always have to talk about things that are specifically going on in the league because I know it gets redundant. Everybody's doing videos on those. But different topics or different discussions that y'all think are cool or good or intriguing to y'all let me know. Different segments y'all want to see that are recurring on this series, y'all let me know. But as always, Big Stacks, Pee Wee the Plug, much love. I'm out.